Hello and welcome to this episode of the Reset Podcast. I'm your host, Laura Mignot. This is part of my 29 Days of Magic series where I interview an amazing Black woman every single day for 29 straight days during Black History Month. And today I am super excited to have Erika Williams, who's the Manager of Partnerships of Activations, Trade Shows, and Corporate Events at ADT. She has an incredible story, and I'm super excited to hear it with you all today. So, without further ado, hi Erika.
Hi, Laura. How are you? Thank
Oh,
you for having me today.
just talking to people randomly for 29 straight days. Simple stuff. The huge. So glad you're on the podcast. Delighted to finally have this conversation with you. As you know, first question, always the same. Answer is always awesome. So, Erika, what was your first job?
Wow, my first job was working for a record label as the administrative assistant to one of the senior VPs. And that included everything from, typing letters to setting up meetings, arranging travel. But most importantly, it taught me the business of business, right? And the business of being an executive. So that was my first job. It was fun. I got to meet a lot of artists. I got to travel a little bit, and I got to learn, and that was important.
So I love how you say, "Oh yeah, I just worked at a record label, and it was just a learning experience." Girl, please, um, like anyone who knows anybody who's worked at a record label is like there are bodies buried. I can't tell you where. So, can you talk to
Absolutely.
us about a time where you're like, "Oh my goodness, what have I gotten myself into?" and then you got out of it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was, I didn't stay an administrative assistant the whole time. I actually worked my way up to associate director, but I worked with a lot of rap artists. There was a time, when I was working and actually on tour with a rapper, and he got into an altercation, and I was like, is this what my life is going to be about?
I'm gonna get somebody
I
out of
thought,
jail. I went to
right,
college, and this is what's happening in my life.
exactly. But it was a learning opportunity. It was, wild. It was crazy, but he was an amazing artist, and unfortunately, he was known for things like that. Or fortunately, made him famous. It made him famous. So
Um,
yeah, so like I try not to say names and things like that, but he was always into certain things, always into trouble. So
those things
I
do
questioned,
happen.
yeah, I questioned everything, my career, like what are you doing? But it was great. It was another learning opportunity.
What have I done in my life? Oh my goodness. Uh, okay, so after you have tons of PTSD post working for a record label
Right.
to now where you have a normal job, what was that career journey like?
That career journey was using what I learned. Learning at the record label, what I learned, the most important lesson I learned that marketing is everything, right? And if you know the principles of marketing, you can take that to any industry. So when I decided to leave the record industry because I wanted to pursue, like, I wanted to have a family, I got married, I wanted something different out of life. I just took those skills that I learned working with the record label and I applied it to different industries. So I've done marketing for many, many different industries, ranging from entertainment, obviously, finance, security, retail. I've used those same principles and applied it to just different industries. So that journey, I've went from managing marketing, acquisition and retention for colleges and universities, to credit card portfolios for retail chains, to actually now working at ADT, where I'm able to take our partnerships and our activations and create integrated marketing plans around creating amazing activations for the company. So it has
Awesome.
been a journey.
I can imagine so. It's interesting because I think sometimes folks, similarly, think they have to be on this sort of defined path. And you're talking about how you just, took everything you learned from each place you went, kind of filled the Erica toolbox, and then that's how you were able to move from place to place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every place I've learned something, and I've learned how to adapt. It's about being adaptable. Marketing is marketing, right? It's marketing is the same, and you may have to tweak it for different industries, but it truly is the same. And every job allows you to learn and to grab something from that particular role to fill up your toolbox, right? And you find your strengths and in that particular role, and you help and develop your, I don't like to say weaknesses, but those areas where you need to improve, you develop those, right? And these things, I always say knowledge is something no one can ever take from you. You just take that and build on it, and you can apply it to any industry you're in.
It's so true. And I think that's the thing that we want people to understand, that like, you never lose. You learn. Even if you're like, oh my God, the job is terrible. Oh my God, I got so much PTSD from this experience. Yeah, okay, we'll never do that again. Um,
Absolutely.
I learned that, like, okay, that's not how I treat people. That's not the kind of boss I ever want to be, because I had that terrible time of a boss. That's not the kind of coworker I want to be, because I saw coworkers who were out of their minds. And that, begins to build, like, the character of who you end up becoming.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It definitely does. And you grow through every position, even, and I always say, even if you do have a bad boss, there's something to learn. There's a learning opportunity in everything. One of the lessons, my mom always taught me is you can learn from anyone, right? If it's a bad experience, there's a lesson in there for you to learn. If there's a good experience, there's a lesson there for you to learn. You can learn from anyone, from the janitor to the CEO, if you're listening, right? And if you're open to learning.
I
So
think that's such a big important part, listening. Like, I think sometimes folks don't realize the power of listening. Like, we want to talk, which is great. But oftentimes, actively listening is so important as you're trying to, build out your career. And like, fine tuning that skill goes a long way.
agreed, agreed. I used to have something written on my whiteboard, and it says, listen first to understand, right? Don't just listen, but listen to understand before you speak. And that's something I try to remember in every conversation.
Of course. It's
Yeah.
go ahead. Common sense. So for you now at ADT, so you have an awesome role where you have, your arms around events, activations, and everything in between, experientially wise. What's your day to day like?
Oh my gosh, my day to day is like, it ranges from, putting together like strategy and exciting things we can do at activation, to like going to a food tasting for an event, to carrying boxes, right? To make sure that, things are good for an activation I'm working on. I have a wide range. My day could be different every day. And I'm sure you know this from working in the experiential area. No task is too small, right? It could be, they could need me to make a decision or give an approval on something as like a food tasting, or to a major construction of an activation booth, or putting together strategy of what our plan looks like with that partnership throughout the year in terms of activation. Um, every day is different, and that's what I love about it. And the great part of my role is I work with all areas of the company. I could be working with the sales team. I could be working with corporate communications, the brand team, our digital team, our media team. I could be working with every area and every division in the company. That's why I love my role so much.
I love it. Awesome. Again, as an experiential person, I know that, part of there's an art and a science. There's an art, science, and heart to everything that we do.
Yes, yes.
Because you don't have like, oh, today I'm going to be doing spreadsheets all day long. Yeah, nope,
Nope.
that's not.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Your day could be, you could have your day plan. Here's the key thing of, the interesting thing about our role is flexibility. You have to be flexible. I think that is the key, the key word for what we do. You can have your day planned out. You could have everything planned out for your event, but you should always expect the unexpected and be prepared for the unexpected. So,
Pretty
and
much.
I'm sorry.
I said pretty much.
Pretty much, right? And I like to tell people, in putting together like plans, I always think of a plan A, B, C, and D. And as I'm putting things together, I'm working on my PowerPoint or whatever I'm presenting. I'm like, but if this goes, in a different direction, there's always plan B, C, D. You always have to be prepared and be flexible.
Pretty much. I mean, I always say that if you are not made of if you're not made of gumbiness, as in you are Gumby, you're gonna have a hard time in experiential because that there's the one industry where everything is just so wildly unpredictable. Like I was just telling you about how crazy my day was. Where it's like,
Yes,
yeah, God, what? Super super
absolutely.
highs, super super
Mhm,
lows, back to super
mhm,
super highs. Um,
absolutely.
but
You
I
have to
think
be flexible and resilient, right? You,
yes,
you
I
can't let the lows get you down. You got to bounce back quick.
yeah. Again, it's Gumby. Like you just
Hmm.
snap back into place. So, obviously in your day to day, I'm sure you have all kinds of interesting challenges that you have to kind of work and navigate your way through. What's your advice for someone who's like, I'm trying to learn more about experiential,
Hmm.
on the brand side as opposed to being in the agency? Because obviously folks know what I do when I'm on the agency side, but on the brand side, obviously you've got more challenges and sometimes more restrictions. So, like, what's some advice you'd want to give to the audience?
My advice would be to network, right? I think the fact that we don't network and create a group of people who you can talk to and bounce ideas off of and see what other people are doing. I feel like in experiential marketing, we don't tend to do that and to share ideas or things we've done. So that's, my key thing is to just network. And the second is to create advocates inside of the at the brand where you work, right? It's so much easier when you have those advocates and you have people helping to push your ideas and helping to support your ideas internally. um, that is half the battle, I think, right? So when you come up with an idea or you're pitching it, you've already have these people who want to see you win, right? You can say, I saw X company do something similar. It's doing your research, creating advocates, and expanding your network and sharing ideas amongst people. So I would say that is one of the most critical things to do and when you're working for a brand. Don't be in a silo. It's create a team to support you and create advocates and network.
Love that. And so necessary. I mean, I have to beat people over the head repeatedly and be like, "Will you please leave your house?" Like, this is not even the game, boys and girls. And you have to build those networks. I think sometimes we get very siloed and folks don't realize, well, oh, if I have people, or even I always talk to like other experiential people. I'm like, well, that defeats the purpose. I want to talk to myself.
Right.
Like,
You want
you
to
need
hear
to
what
talk to
other
other
people,
folks.
yes.
I
You want to
only talk
hear
to other
what other
brand people. Like, you got to
right.
talk to everybody. Like, as you said, like the janitor and like, the person who is your intern. Great ideas can come from everywhere.
Absolutely, absolutely. And keep employees like if when at work when people see me, they stop me and say, "What's the great things you're working on now?" They're vested in and what we're working on. And I may tell them and they may say, what would be a great idea if we did this? Or they may give you insight about an activation you're working on that you did not know, or an employee event that you're working on, and you find out ways how to improve. Your best ideas and best suggestions come from people outside of what you do. So you're absolutely right with that.
It's so imperative. Looking
Yes.
back on all the really awesome stuff that you've done, what do you think you'd tell 18-year-old Erika?
Oh my gosh, what would I tell 18-year-old Erica? Whew, don't be afraid to ask for what you want. Go after what you want. Um, and don't let anyone stop the light or try to put out your shine, right? And be authentically yourself. I feel like I went through a period of time where um, I tried to be what other people wanted me to be. Now I'm authentically, truly myself, right? And I tried to be what I thought the corporate world wanted me to be. And now I'm truly, authentically myself. And that being true and authentic to yourself is amazing. There are two or three things could be true. I can be a little bit bougie. I can quote Little Kim, Biggie Smalls, right? And still be dope at what I do, right? I can wear my Chuck Taylors and my jeans and still go give an amazing presentation about what we should do. Be authentic to yourself. That's what makes you you, and that's what makes you different. Being someone else is too hard. It's too hard. So that's what I would tell myself. Be true to yourself, know your worth, and know who you are. And that's what makes you special. So
Uh, so I have to follow up on this. So, are you gonna say that you can be bougie slash ratchet,
yes,
like a savage?
absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely 100%. Two things can be true, right? I'm originally from
exactly.
Brooklyn, so I'm loving Biggie Small, Little Kim. I love rap music. Like I feel like hip hop raised me as well. But I also love classical music. I also, there's a bougie side to me as well, and I embrace all of it. It's what makes me different. That's what makes me special, and I think a lot of people are like that too if they're true and honest with them about who they are and what they love. So
Okay, so you left out. You're from Brooklyn. I knew you were a New Yorker. I knew deep down you were hiding it, but I could tell.
I'm not hiding
Um,
it. I'm not hiding it. It comes out every now and then. It
every
does.
day, yeah. I mean, honestly, when you said you worked for record labels, that should have been the first indicator that you
Hmm.
must be from New York, because that's who did it. The folks who were here in the city. So,
Absolutely.
uh, I get it. So Brooklyn girl who makes good, and then all the amazing things that happen along the way. Now, I'm guessing
Uh-huh.
that for you, you have 11,000 things to do on a daily basis, and you're always trying to make sure you get everything done. So,
Right.
what does Erica do for Erica? Like, what do you do for your self care?
Oh my gosh. My self-care is not having a day where I don't have to do anything, right? Where I can call a friend and be like, "You want to go to brunch?" I can go to hot yoga. I love doing hot yoga. Everyone who knows me knows I love hot yoga.
Really?
I
So,
can
I mean, I've tried hot yoga.
When you come out here, you've got to try it with me. Hot yoga is amazing. What it does for me is physical, is mental, not physical, right? Because I'm going to be honest, when you're doing hot yoga, you feel like you're going to die. Your body is like,
Exactly. I have done
it's
it a few
hot.
times. I'm like, I'm gonna die. Like, this is not cool.
Yes. But the strength comes from you knowing that, yes, I am breathing. No, I'm not dying. I'm resilient and I can make it through these 60 minutes, right? And I'm going to continue. My heart's still going. You are breathing, even though your mind is telling you to run, to panic. It's overcoming that is so empowering to me. So it's definitely yoga does things for my mind more so than and it's physical too, but I love the benefits that it does for me mentally.
Wow. So
Yes,
hot yoga.
hot
Yeah,
yoga.
man. I've tried, and I'm like,
Not for me. I almost quit the
listen.
first time. I literally almost quit the first time. The second time I was like, you got this, be strong, and it just became a habit. And, you
Okay.
know, yeah. So that's what I like doing in my spare time. I like not having a plan. being able to be spontaneous. And I love going to yoga and just enjoying a good yoga class, hot yoga class. So
Maybe when I come next time I come visit Miami, maybe you could convince me. Because I
I
said
would love for you to
I've
go with me.
tried, I've tried,
I would
and
love it. Love it, love it. It's mind over matter. I'm telling you, when your body feels like it's going to flee, that's when you go, no, I'm not going to flee. Things are good. I'm breathing. I'm not dying, right? And you got this. You've got this. And that's, I look at how yoga like life, right? And at work, there's so many, we can have so many challenges, and you're like, oh, I can't do this. But you're resilient. You figure it out. You find a way. You find a solution. And that's how I look at yoga.
well, that is the message of the day that like you do have to find your way, you do have to find your way through, and there is this inner resilience that we all have.
Mhm.
Um, I can see I can see where it's coming from, Erica. That like it makes sense. I
It
mean, I
does.
feel like when I've done hot yoga, I've been like, oh, I'm gonna die. And so I was like, but also you're in Miami, like the fitness capital of the world. Everyone's size zero. Like I will say that I in New York I have felt quite self conscious about sometimes going to yoga classes because I'm like, do y'all eat anything but berries? Like really?
Listen,
Like,
I am the biggest and the darkest thing in my hot yoga class, right? And I am not ashamed of it, right? Because it doesn't matter your size, it doesn't matter what you look like. Um, I can still get in the pigeon pose. I can still do get in the lizard pose. It's all about, and I love shocking people when I walk up into class. When I walk up into the yoga studio, I'm always getting looks, right? I don't look like somebody who does yoga. And that's what makes it so amazing. That's what makes it so beautiful, right? They're expecting one thing, but then they see another, and they see someone doing it. I wouldn't say I'm great in yoga, but I'm better than some people who don't look like me and are way thinner than me. So um, I just love proving that we can do all things. We can do
well,
all
that's
things.
true. This is well, because Black women are amazing. So
Absolutely.
can you do a headstand?
No, I can't do a headstand
Okay.
yet, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Not yet. Not yet. But I will. Catch me in about maybe a year, 6 months.
Okay.
I'm
I
working
mean,
on it.
I used to be able to do a headstand.
Mhm.
I was into yoga for quite a while, and then COVID happened. So like all the things that I kind of was into, and then also I got COVID fluffy. Um,
Ah, yes,
so
we
and
all
now
did.
I'm yeah, so we all did. So now I'm reducing the fluffiness like at a good clip. So I feel like once I'm back to like closer to that magical number, I feel like I could drag my behind back into a yoga studio. But I will say that if I make mosey my way down to Miami sometime soon,
Mhm.
I will go with you, Erica.
I
And
would love for you to come. I would love for us to walk up in there being all, you
listen,
know, yes, beautiful and chocolate and I love watching the people watch me walk in because I'm not what's used to going to the yoga studio, what's used to being
I
in
love it. Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
dude, and of course I will be decked out in all athleta. 'Cause so like I have my $9 yoga pants. They're just from athleta. So there you go. Um, ain't no shade here, darling.
That's right.
Okay, so last question for you. Do
Okay.
you have a give and or ask of the audience?
A given that asks for the audience. Yes, I do. I do have a give. Like I feel like there are like 5 things that I would just like to share with people in general. And I think we forget this, and I've got to remind myself of these things all the time, right? Um, Number one is network. Always make sure you have sponsors, mentors, advocates, right? People who are there to advocate for you in the room when you're not there. We forget this. We forget this. We are, as Black women, we are strong. There are a lot of us, but we don't network amongst ourselves and we don't support each other. Network and create those sponsors, mentors, and advocates for yourself. Um, the second thing I would say is never stop learning. Again, these are all things I think I touched on. Like learning is key. You can learn from anyone. Don't be minded. You can learn from anyone from the custodian to the CEO. Um, and then number three, I would say make sure you're giving back. Um, whether you're being a mentor to someone or whether you're giving back to your community, give back any way you can. A lot of people can't give back financially, but we all have time. Like, what are you doing to serve your community? I think that is incredibly important. And then the fourth one I would say is I talked about this, be flexible, hustle, right? Don't be afraid to do any small tasks because those small tasks will turn into bigger like opportunity, right? If you're carrying a box, somebody can see you carrying that box and be like, you know what, she's a hard worker. I need someone like that on my team. And and then the last thing I would say is be authentic, be yourself. And I think I talked about that. These are all lessons that I learned. I learned from not being authentic. Being true to yourself is so freeing. And just being authentic, just helps you. And just in life, how can you be someone else? It's too much work to be someone else. Just be
Don't fake the
authentic
funk.
and true to yourself. So those are the things I would want to just to leave with everyone. And everyone talks about knowing your worth. I think, doing these things, you show people what your worth is, doing those 5 things. So you know your worth and you show them who you are. You show up by doing these things. So that's what I would leave.
Wow. You got you got so many there. Jeez, girl. I say
Because,
I said a give or an ask. I got like four amazing gives. Like, look at you being an overachiever. Shocker.
no,
Um
I'm not being an overachiever. I just wish, you know what? I wish when I was younger, like when I was 18, someone sat me down and said these things to me as I was preparing to, finish school and leave, enter the corporate world. These are things we need to teach. And I don't think a lot of people get these lessons. So
no, you're right.
I'm
And I
trying to
think
share as much knowledge as I have.
you're so right. And it's again, it's part of the reason why I continue to do 29 Days of Magic for 4 years strong, is because us just having this conversation helps so many other young folks who are listening, or not just other young folks, but folks just in general, because you never day on any given day, your kind words will impact someone in a way that will change their life. And I think that as
Absolutely.
our responsibility, and part again for a reason to do this, is that folks can see that, but also to see that like there's nothing like not superhuman about us. There's not a like there isn't like a black women are awesome school. Like
Right, right.
it's just like we all have our own paths, we all have our own ways, we all have our own unique stories,
Mhm.
and pieces of it can be reflected in the things that you do, and you can say, hey, look, that's I have an opportunity to do something awesome. It's pretty cool. And
Absolutely.
you never know what could happen as a result of that. So I'm so thrilled to continue to keep doing this and getting to have awesome people like you come join me on this delightful 29-day journey that I do every year.
You know what? I have to say, and I have to say this, I'm a big, big fan of of yours, a huge fan. I just have to say that this 29 days of magic is a gift that you are leaving and that you are giving to, Black women all around the country. And I just want to thank you for that. Through my I found you through my research and was excited to be on a meeting with you, right? In a meeting with you and have the opportunity to speak to you one on one. But this is truly a gift that you are leaving, and I'm grateful for it, and I thank you for that.
Aw, Erica, Thank you. Your checks in the mail for that.
No, seriously. I mean, I look up to the things that you are doing and the things you have done and the things you have taught and the things you've shown me silently when I didn't even know you, right? So I thank you for leading by example. And just know there are people like me watching you from afar. Even though you didn't know me, I was watching and I knew who you were. So thank you for being an example and allowing me to see myself in someone who looked like me and to see like what I could be in the future. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Make me all misty. Oh. I wear contacts, gonna make my eyes all watery and such. Girl, thank you. It is like I said, you never, as you proved my point. Like you never know what your words and your actions and your deeds can do for somebody, and you never know who's watching, who's listening, and who's learning from you. So if you can take that one step and be out in the universe doing the best that you can, the impact you can have is pretty incredible. And you're pretty awesome too, ma'am. So just like, and I thank you so much for being part of this, delightful love letter that I do every year. And folks should want to follow you. So we'll put all your details in the show notes for folks to find you and connect with you as well, because again, that networking is of paramount importance because we have to make as many connections as humanly possible.
Absolutely.
And I'm so delighted that you were able to join me on 29 Days of Magic for the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm absolutely honored, and you know exactly how I feel. Thank you for being a trailblazer.
Oh, thanks. And that is our show.